Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Jordan Taylor received his sentencing yesterday for the murder of a child. And the new sheriff of Letcher County is talking about the rough transition period after Mickey Stein's retirement.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. I'm Madison Carmouche. Thanks for joining us this Wednesday morning. We're inching up to that 6 o'clock mark. Let's send it over to meteorologist Megan Dusmall for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, we didn't have to worry too much about frost because we get here super early, but I don't know about everyone else.
That's true. Frost is an issue for some people around the area. We're under a frost advisory today, so that is something that you need to be worrying about this morning, maybe adding a little bit extra time. Definitely more time to defrost your car this morning as it's going to be a cold one. But taking a look at those current temperatures, we are in the 30s and 40s with the coldest area right now being 36 in Wise. Definitely a cool start to your morning, but as we continue through the day, it'll likely warm up. But here are those advisories. First one up, the frost advisory. It's covering everywhere with the exception of the Tennessee counties, Wise and Lee County, Virginia, and Lawrence, Kentucky. And this will go until 10 a.m. The next one we have is a freeze warning, which will be until 9 a.m. and this is for Lawrence County, Kentucky. So definitely something that you need to be adding extra time into your morning to consider. High temperatures, though, again, it'll warm up, but not by too much. Definitely some sweater weather out there today. Mid-50s as your high for today. In the next 12 hours, we will be warming up ever so slightly to those high temperatures with some clouds for today. I'll have your ARH 7-day forecast in just a couple of minutes. Madison?
Megan, thank you. Jury selection is underway for the federal retrial of a former Louisville police officer charged in the shooting death of Breonna Taylor. Prosecutors say Brett Hankinson used excessive force and violated Taylor's civil rights when he fired shots into her apartment in 2020 during a botched police raid. The federal case was tried last year, but when the trial ended, the jury was deadlocked and the judge ordered a mistrial. A judge sentenced a Whitley County man who killed a 3-year-old last year to life in prison. Jordan Taylor pleaded guilty in the 2023 death of 3-year-old Amora Smallwood. He admitted to charges of murder, sodomy, and strangulation. The guilty plea meant Taylor avoided the possibility of a jury giving him the death penalty. At the end of yesterday's hearing, Taylor's attorney questioned if the death penalty would have been a legal option because of Taylor's IQ.
What else could he be? I mean, he's a monster. He got a sentence he deserves, to the extent we can give him that in this building.
Amora's mother, Alexandra Ward, faces a complicity to murder charge. Her trial is scheduled for March. A London man has been arrested on charges related to child sexual abuse material. The arrest of Logan Barber was the result of an ICAC investigation. That investigation was launched after police say it was discovered Barber had been sharing images of child sexual exploitation online. Barber is charged with 41 counts of distribution of matter portraying sexual performance by a minor under the age of 12. He was taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center. A Pike County man is charged in connection with his mother's death. On Monday, Kentucky State Police responded to a home on Old Wagner Station Road in the Coal Run Village area. 75-year-old Paulette Mullins was found with a gunshot wound and pronounced dead. Her son, 59-year-old Alex Uhas, was arrested after several hours of negotiating with several officers that responded to the scene.
So there's multiple different agencies there. You had the Kentucky State Police, the Coal Run City Police, Pike County Sheriff's Office was there. Pike County Emergency Management came out and helped as far as the scene, controlling the scene there.
KSP Trooper Michael Coleman says officials with KSP's Special Response Team were also at the scene. Uhas was charged with murder relating to domestic violence, terroristic threatening, and third-degree assault. This week, we are hearing from the new Letcher County Sheriff for the first time since taking over for Mickey Steins, who retired after being charged with killing a judge. Sheriff Billy Jones is asking for patience as they transition into new leadership. Jones worked as a school resource officer before taking the oath earlier this month. As he switches roles and there is a greater demand for security, Jones says they are working to get back to full strength.
We had two road deputies at at the time. Now since I've came down from the high school, I've had to assign a deputy up there. Deputy Alan Borums is now the new school resource officer. And we have one deputy that is resigning, taking new employment, so we're actively hiring right now.
The sheriff says their K-9 is now at the Mount Vernon Police Department. A Laurel County man is facing charges after he reportedly shot inside a vehicle from a home. Police were called to a home on Sinking Creek Road yesterday morning. Once they arrived, they discovered 47-year-old Delbert Cox was inside a building where he barricaded himself. Cox told police he was armed with a gun. Police later arrested Cox following the standoff and retrieved the gun that was inside the building. He was taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center. A Morgan County man was sentenced to 3 years in prison for willfully depriving someone of their rights. Nathaniel Lumpkins of Elk Fork worked as a youth worker at the Department of Juvenile Justice Facilities in West Liberty. In his plea agreement back in 2019, Lumpkins admitted to violating the civil rights of a 15-year-old at Woods Bend Youth Development Center, using unreasonable force on the victim, which led to the teen having their arm broken. A Bureau of Prisons employee has been arrested and charged following a complaint of unlawful sexual contact. William Thomas was assigned to the United States Penitentiary in McCreary County. Following the complaint against Thomas, he was placed on administrative leave. The complaint, which was filed in April, says Thomas reportedly engaged in unlawful sexual contact by force while off duty with a BOP staff member in Colorado. Monday, the Laurel County Courthouse was evacuated following a bomb threat. The threat was initially sent to media outlets, including WYMT. And with that, you may be wondering, what charges could someone face following an incident where a fake bomb threat is reported? In Kentucky, that person could face charges under the terroristic threatening statute. This can be categorized into 3 different types: a Class C felony, which is first degree, a Class D felony, which is second degree, or a Class A misdemeanor, which is third degree. A Class A misdemeanor could result in up to 1 year in jail along with a fine. A Class D felony could result in anywhere between 1 to 5 years in prison with a fine, and a Class C felony could result in the possibility of 5 to 10 years in prison with a fine.
It's not a foggy morning today. However, there are some areas that are seeing that fog. Taking a look, Williamsburg, we have that 3-mile visibility. But for the rest of us, we're seeing a lot of 10s, so it's a good morning fog-wise. However, those temperatures are brutal. Taking a look outside WYMT, again, beautiful day, but here are those temperatures that I mentioned. Very cold, 30s and 40s is what we're seeing right now. Don't forget to make sure you're bringing that heavier coat this morning as you're leaving the door. And as we go through the next couple of hours, we'll get to that high today in the mid 50s will be what you're expecting to see. Norton's a little bit cooler in the 40s for their high today, as well as Clintwood and Logan. And as you look through the next 12 hours, there you go, nice and sunny up until around that 2 p.m. hour. We'll start to have those clouds peeking through. Sunrise will be at 7:43 a.m. this morning. Madison.
Thanks, Megan, and thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. When we return, former President Trump faced tough questions as he campaigned in the Peach State.